What is going on, everyone? Tim from Tierfon Orbital. Today's video is going to be a relatively quick one because I don't need to talk about my chassis. This is not one of my chassis that has been installed in this Hilt. This is a chassis, a hot chassis from Carlos over at the taco shop. I've installed this in the Lost one from Jawas Junkyard. Let me make sure I've got the name of that Hilt correctly. This has been installed in the Lost Soul from Jawas Junkyard. This is a full steel hilt based on Dagengara. It is a really unique looking hilt with a very nice window for a crystal reveal in it, right? Carlos's chassis is another great reveal chassis. We have a crystal here. There's a lot of stuff going on in this chassis, and it is a little bit finicky to put the chassis in the hilt and to use the chassis. So I do want to come up top and talk about that a little bit. And then obviously we will put a blade in it and do a demo, right? So without further ado, let's come up top. So here it is, the Lost Soul from Jawas Junkyard. I am not wearing shoes at the moment. If I drop this on my feet, I am at a standing desk. If I drop this on my feet, I will break a toe. This is a steel hilt. I don't know what. Listen, Jawas Junkyard hilts. They are beautiful. The Corcus comes to mind. That was a full steel hilt. If you drop these hilts on your feet, you will break a toe. So don't do that. Anyhow, so this is a great hilt. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the chassis first. This is a hot chassis from Carlos over at the taco shop. Magnetic board cover. There is a full brass crystal chamber here. There is a resin crystal, or polycarbonate crystal rather, in there that is lit with one single neopixel that is its own blade in the config. There are two 2020 neopixel strips on each side of the chassis. They are also their own blade in the config. And then we have two lit Shtok Switch PCBs, and they are their own blade in the config. So there's a lot going on in the config in this particular install, right? So this is a Proffie V3, and there are a lot of blades going on, right? So to use the chassis, spring side is your negative, spring side is towards the speaker. So put your battery in that battery tray, hit your kill switch.
No one to fear. Just a traveler.
Okay. There's that lit crystal. Both of your Shtok Switch PCBs are lit. There is your lit CC Sabers PCB emitter and your two lit neopixel strips. Okay. So putting this in the hilt is a little bit of a process. Okay. So what I have been doing is I will put the chassis in the grip first. And then I put the grip in. Screw your grip in place, and you want to kind of look at these switches, right? So these switches are translucent. Screw it in until you start feeling a little bit of resistance here in this O-ring. So there's an O-ring in between the grip and the upper section of the hilt. Kind of twist it until you start to see that light. Those lights line up with the switches. So that's how you know that like the chassis is lining up. And then you're good to go. There's that crystal in that crystal chamber. And that's it, right? So let's come down to the bottom. So there's that viewable crystal in that crystal chamber. Very cool effect, cool reveal. So one of the things, so obviously there's no clocking mechanism inside of this hilt. There's no way to make sure that chassis is kind of guiding in and to ensure that those switches are lining up perfectly, right? So that is why, I recommend putting the chassis in the grip first and then kind of watching those lights kind of line up with those switches. That's the way that I've been doing it anyhow. Little bit finicky, but that's the way that I found works the best. Yeah, and then sometimes these switches can get caught. I'm going to be like full disclosure. This has happened a number of times where like the main or either or, right? Either switch will kind of get caught in the on position. Just keep in mind, right? Keep that in mind. So let's see what else we put on here.
Ascension.
Let's put a blade in it. Okay, so this is a 7/8 inch blade holder. Gotta love that, right? So you want to put your blade in that, put your blade in the blade holder. Obviously, there is a small M3 set screw that will serve as your blade retention. And you're ready to go.
Team is ready for Lord Vader.
See what else we put on here.
I'm never touching that thing again.
Yeah, these switches can be a little finicky.
Don't talk back to your elders, child.
Try to switch up the animation for those switches with each font, because they are their own blade in the config. So that is it. That is the Lost Soul from Jawas Junkyard with a hot chassis from the taco shop, right? Great looking hilt, great looking chassis. So yeah, this one was a lot of fun to install. So to the customer, thank you very much for trusting me with your install, and thank you very much for your patience. To the viewers, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. And with that being said, may the force be with you always. Have a good one, everybody.